You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
Boys. How are we going? Civil War. How are we going?
Yeah, this the third installment of the Marvel series, Avengers Civil War, and it was quite a spectacle.
Quite a departure from previous entries, but people have been saying we need a mature adult Civil War movie, and that's what we're talking about today on this episode of The Hack and the Fraud, joined by Nick, who you've already heard. Hello. But also a special guest, been on the pod before, long-time friend of the pod, Sean Tolley.
Thanks, boys. Glad to be back. Glad to get the call up again.
Oh, it's good to have you back.
An easy call up, never in doubt. You're a super sub last time, and obviously we've brought you back for Civil War, a movie that
I haven't invited the last Sean back too, so
understandably
pretty good.
But...
I don't know. Should you read into that? Maybe, probably.
There was a little debate about Sean 1 versus Sean 2 in the previous podcast. I think we've clearly settled that.
It's been settled now.
Look, thanks for
5
coming
stars
on.
versus 1 star. No, Sean, we love you. He's going to be listening in the Philippines. Sean Harrigan.
Sean, 2 is great.
Shout out Manila, by the way.
Shout out Manila.
He's the best Sean that I know that's in the Philippines right now.
That we can agree on.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Anyway,
this was. I'll set the table for this one if you want.
Oh yeah, I'd love that.
Or a fraud. So Civil War has just come out this Thursday in Australia. I think it was maybe released.
I think this
a little
is
bit of
worldwide release right now. Yeah.
So this is super new.
3 days.
Not many people have seen it. And what I think is really great about this film is that I honestly think we're all going to have 3 super, very, very incredibly different views and opinions and ratings of this film. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think it's a film that's going to have a wide range of opinions of, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I do. And
sure.
I think it's going to be one where, people love it and hate it from all different angles.
Yeah, right.
And in surprising
same
ways.
team. Well, one person from the same team, let's call them teams, will hate it. And then another will love it.
Yeah.
So it's going to cause a lot of debates, which is what this is all about, I think.
Yeah,
that's good cinema right there.
I think I'm going to say off the bat to also help you set the table. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as some people are making it out to be. And
yeah.
I'm going into because it's got a guy that I like. Shout out Revan. He gave it half a star.
Out of 5?
5 out of 10.
Wow.
1 out of 10.
Out of 10.
Yes. Not good, I've seen. But, I think it's got... It's not so... anyway, we'll go into it a bit more, but...
No, yeah, I think that's it's a good segue into why I think there's a lot of half a stars and 1 stars. And this film does not pick a side. So we'll come out right...
Actually.
I think so it doesn't pick an obvious side. I'll say that. How about that? It doesn't pick an obvious side and sort of says, this is the side that is right and this is the side that is wrong, which to me is both a positive but also a negative for the film, if it makes sense. So it's a positive in that I think it's great that this film is directed by and told by an English director, not an American. I think it needs an outside sort of perspective. But it's possibly not as biting as it could be. So that's the negative. So it's not as really cutting into because it really is a little bit of a like a cross section of what America is sort of heading down. Would you sort of agree? Like Civil War is on the cards with how divided the country is. But it doesn't really come out with a sort of obvious, I'll say obvious again, side to which side is right and which side is left. And like I said, it's sort of... I think it had to, though.
I think it had to have a sort of apolitical view, because if you, especially given the current political climate, if you go in as a pro-Republican movie, the Dems are going to watch it, and if you're going as a pro-Dem, the Republicans are going to watch it. So I think you're right. It's good that it's got the foreign director doing it as well, and yeah.
I think while the movie may be somewhat apolitical, I think Alex Garland is probably more left-wing than people are giving him credit for. He very explicitly puts a fascist dictator, calls him a fascist, as the president. Yeah. He's saying there's a difference between fascism and, being right-wing. I think, obviously he's playing both sides a little bit. I think some people interpret it. Remember the comment about the Antifa massacre? I think it's left open as to whether Antifa committed or were the victims of the massacre.
I thought they were clearly the victims, but maybe that was just how
a lot of people have read it as, the Antifa as committing a massacre.
But I think that's interesting because it just provides that sort of...
you can read it either way.
You can read it because you can, obviously we are not American and the president is quite clearly more of a Trump than a Biden. Yeah, but he does have Trump. Biden sort of,
I felt he was pretty Trumpian.
No, yeah, very, very much so. But there's little bits of, so okay. I was talking about this today. What I found was funny was so the Western American Front. That's the sort of skipping ahead. The Western Forces,
California,
so
and
essentially, California and Texas. So two unlikely allies there, right? Because you got a red and a blue state, or mainly a very, very blue state, and then a sort of usually red state.
Yeah.
But I could see the Texas against tyranny, a tyrannical government. Yeah, that's actually I could see that and believe that. So
that's
I
kind of
thought about that more.
The two resources states as well. If the country is falling apart, they got the most power. California is the food and a lot of energy. Texas is also energy with oil. So,
yeah. But on Tolley's point, I think you get the best viewing, I want to say, the best experience if you really are as apolitical going into the film as possible. Not saying you have a sort of left-wing or right-wing leaning. I just mean not really aligned so much to one side. I think you will get a better experience out of this film.
I think it's a blockbuster, and he is allowing the audience, even if you're right-wing, to be able to enjoy the movie. But I think his perspective is left-wing, and it sounds ridiculous, but the correct reading of the film would be
I think so too.
Very left-wing.
Yeah.
Left-leaning for sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how it's probably written, but it's written in such a way to allow the...
Yeah, and let me segue into this, which is what I do like about the movie and what I think has been a criticism is ignoring the politics of the situation and just focusing on the ground level through the eyes of a war photojournalist. I like that it's about a journalist because obviously that's a very pertinent modern issue, journalism cover. I like the fact that she's a photojournalist. Obviously there's less capacity, although obviously not impossible, less capacity to editorialize with pictures versus, just writing a story. Pictures are reality, are fact. So I like that he's doing that. The politics is there in the movie in the background, but I think he's painting the reality of the war situation, obviously, rather than focusing on the politics, because he's commenting on something different, which is more about the nature of humanity. It is... When you break it down, you can have all the political arguments. It is people killing each other for reasons they can't even elucidate. That scene where they have the two looters and the guy's like, I went to high school with him. He didn't talk to me then. It's that slight from years past is something that's still with him and is going to affect how it's this modern capacity to just be they've done the bad thing. And we retaliate against the bad thing via killing each other. But then who did the original bad thing? Now, this is not an excuse for, people to be doing bad things, obviously. But I think that's more what it's commenting on rather than...
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. Yeah. I think that's what's so good about this film is that if there was a civil war tomorrow, the backdrop for this film is almost 100% what it would look like. Just traveling through America, through the eyes of journalists, almost English journalists, like non-American. It's really like a non-American movie about America, which I think is its strongest suit.
It's almost a take on what America does with like Middle Eastern countries, for example, where they send in journalists and it's just that they don't have really a say in it. They're just they're killing people, they're recording it. Now it's on their doorstep, So
they're not looking at the big. There's other journalists telling the bigger picture story. These journalists, and you can argue that it would have been better as a different film, but I kind of hate it when people start going like, "Oh, it should have been." The movie is what it is. It is about these characters, and there's no moment in the movie where there should be a political discussion happening because those characters don't experience that, and it's very realistic the way it's portrayed. I found the story to be compelling and realistic, and there's no room, there's no point in the movie where it should have stopped to have a political moment. It's not that kind of movie.
100%.
No, yeah. So that's the backdrop, and so there's so many interesting things about this film. So that's just basically what the audience brings into the film, almost. And then the actual film itself, the Civil War, the sort of we'll call it the backdrop, because the main story is a really simple one. A group of two journalists who bring a sort of impressionable younger girl who's a younger version of the sort of Kirsten Dunst lead, who's very obviously strong in this film.
Yeah, we'll get to the acting for sure.
And the older actor, do you remember his name?
Stephen McKinley Henderson, I think it is, or something like that.
He's in the first June.
He is,
wasn't he?
Out of the second June.
He is.
He's had like
his
a
character
real
was scrapped
renaissance at like a very, very late stage.
He was my favorite character in the film. I think that's probably most people's favorite character.
He kind of always is when he shows up. My favorite was Jesse Plemons' character. So.
Oh yeah, sorry. Of course. Okay, that's what I mean. I think we need to go over 40 minutes. There's so many things to talk about.
For sure. We'll keep rolling.
One of the tweets I saw, and this is it is the most effective 5 minutes of screen time, delivering just an absolute. Okay, we're in spoiler territory because
we're going to spoilers. People
spoiling this character, like the intentions, but we'll just say that the character's screen time, Jesse Plemons, is just intense. You're on the edge of your seat. You're just writing every single word he is saying. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it makes you feel that way.
It's a 10 out of 10 performance. He steals the show.
Like, he showed up one day on his wife's movie. They were like, "Fuck it, we got a scene for you." And he's
it was a favor.
Crush it. No, was it?
I read it was a favor for Kirsten.
That's
he wasn't
so
meant to be in the
credits.
film.
Showed up one day, crushes it.
Yeah.
It's a very well written scene as well. But and I think again that's the best parts of the movie, when it's like that level of violence and reality to it. I kind of feel like in some parts it felt like PG-13 war movie. Doesn't have a lot of like visceral war scenes, but it has like these little side scenes which are quite visceral.
I'll debate that point, and I think Tolley's going to say probably the same thing I am. I really didn't. I found nothing about this film PG-13 in terms of the action, in terms of the horror. Like, it was really, it was a horror for me. It was pretty fucking out there.
It was brutal. Like, I think one thing that sort of stood out to me was that there was no prisoners in this. Everyone was executed. There was no, we're going to take you to jail. You're a POW, whatever. It's just like, no, we're killing you. It's straight up murder.
And sorry, that's what I mean. Like those side scenes of it, but then like the big act, like the final kind of war scene is, when they push into the White House and stuff. It kind of felt a bit more not like a Michael Bay movie, but it was different. I guess the movie did have enough of that in previous scenes, like the two guys who were strung up, the sniper scene, the fucking Jesse Plemons scene, which is the most brutal scene in the movie, and is again another distinct like hero white supremacists who are taking advantage of the situation to hate crime, murder people. So I think that's where Alex Garland's coming from, huh?
Very American.
Very American.
Yeah. And he's not a character you ever Yeah, right. Like Tolley, he's not a character you ever think, it's a bit much. No, that's what's so scary about it.
It's so believable. Yeah, it's
so believable.
You're right about the horror movie aspects. Like, I think more than a normal war movie, my anxiety spiked with this. Like, walking out of the movies, I was like looking around like it was about to start.
Yeah, it was so tense. That's what I loved about this film, was just the whole, every scene, even it was just like the talking. It was just tense. You know, it was building up. It was, and I love that.
It was a thriller.
Yeah, Tolley was next to me in the cinema. He definitely would have seen me a couple of times pull up my jumper over my eyes. Like, you know what? It's like waiting for a jump scare, but it was just the everything about it. So like, I'm not usually like that if I'm on a horror.
That sniper scene as well, where you're just waiting, like, you know the shot's coming, but you just don't know when. You know, you don't know if it's gonna turn on them, and they get shot. You know, it's just any moment. I loved it, and what I loved about the sound as well, just the
sound. Just quickly on the sniper scene, like, it's a bit like, it's not particularly clever. It's kind of bozo filmmaking, which I appreciate. Like, having this, you're waiting for the shot, then bang, and as soon as the bang, it cuts to the photograph, and it's because she's taken the photograph and they uses the sniper shot to be the camera shutter. I just enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, and that's another thing. I think the choices to so a lot throughout the action sequences, we see a lot of stills of the photos.
I like
and
the stills.
I thought that was a decent sort of technique to sort of, you know, basically. It didn't interrupt the action flow at all. I thought it was quite good.
No, it was a nice touch.
So we clearly liked it. So we'll talk about something we didn't like.
No, there's plenty. I have plenty of complaints, oddly, even though I seem to be quiet.
We have too.
You have complaints,
but that's why it's so good. We got a lot.
Okay, first up, minor one, but kind of not minor. Pretty much every needle drop in the, like, every time they played a song in the movie sucked.
Yeah,
it was like confusing.
Really,
like, really strange tone. Like, when they dropped like a '90s hip hop song. And I don't even really know what he was going for in that. It's like a moment of brutality and violence. I'm not sure what he's doing with that. And then all the little guitar, there was
contrast,
songs.
maybe
contrast, but the tone was way off for me.
I felt it was within flow. I felt it wasn't jarring, but like you said, mine's also a minor one.
Okay.
Or the minor character, the character who looks like a minor but isn't.
Hayley Spaney needs to just age into her face. She looks like she's 15.
When they said she was 23, I worried about her when she was getting, because I kept forgetting she's 23, and then that sort of like guy from the band was like, man, she's sure?
Great. She's good.
No, but I thought they really I'm going to say butchered her character, so we're definitely in spoilers territory now. This is my biggest dislike of the film. So this is the one that really brings it down from perfect film or almost perfect film to something that's probably with the rest of the crowd here. So I've had a look. IMDb's on about 7.7, Metascore 77, and I'm a tick above that, despite obviously showing great glowing praise for the film. So I think they did butcher a character, because she's at no point in the film, I don't think she's ever meant to not be likable. Right? She's not meant to be someone that you despise. Would you agree?
Not despise, but she's meant to be like
despise her.
That's
no,
ridiculous.
seriously. It's not ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
She caused a
very
lot
charming.
She's
a child.
She was charming. She was She's 23 in the film. She's actually 23.
In the context of a civil war, she's a child.
No, but the thing is, she makes these absolute, just
she makes
glaring errors in judgment, which lead to deaths of people. And to me, that's like,
the car thing is not her fault.
There's no accountability for her actions ever. In fact, she gets rewarded for it,
but she's
getting
not
the money shot at the end. Sorry,
she's not endorsed by the film. She just.
I think so. No, I don't think she's ever.
But I don't think
to be despised. I despise her, and a lot of people in the cinema. The scene where Kirsten Dunst saves her, there were groans, including my groan.
Maybe they were just sad that Kirsten Dunst died.
No, it was like a.
Also, my theory, she didn't die.
Bad fucking. Sorry.
I think she didn't die. I think she got hit and just got knocked over.
Oh, definitely dead.
No,
Yeah,
she definitely
definitely.
died.
She got hit in the bulletproof vest, and she got knocked
No.
out, but she's
No.
fine.
No,
She's not coming back for Civil War 2.
Exactly.
She's not coming back.
Scarlet, yeah, Kirsten
No,
Dunst.
it
I
was
need you to
just so
distract Kang.
inhumane. It was inhumane how she saves her and she takes a picture and she thinks, oh yeah, like because you told me like if I die you're gonna take my picture, and
So what do you
it's
think?
like no, it's just so you're not a human at that point. There's no empathy anymore, and I despise that person. That's and I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
Well, I
in
think
that thought.
then you would have
lot
to
of people thought the
despise.
same.
You would have to despise the vast majority of photojournalists. Then
Well, maybe, but I
It's a-
like do photojournalists. Do they look at that
they
person?
take that photo. Yeah, they take that photo.
No, not about taking the photo, but the actions that led up to what happened.
Well,
They
so
look
the
at that
action-
and her actions where she was she was running amok basically.
She's running
was
because she got overexcited because she's a 23-year-old.
I feel like Alex Garland, he missed an
no, but
opportunity there.
she got people killed and put people in danger.
But that's the people.
Sorry, Tolley, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, look, I feel like he missed an opportunity there where he took the easy option out. He took the cliche where Kirsten Dunst.
You thought it was cliche. I think it was a cliche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst saves the girl. She gets the shot where she should have died. I feel like what was her name in the movie? Jessie. I think. She should have died. Yeah, like that's the harder. That's the more gritty version of it. Where
It is,
your
but
That's the
consequences have
realistic.
action.
Your actions have killed you, and,
Yeah.
and not some kind of you have won the golden shot. It's like the fucking Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. You get the golden ticket at the end. No. Like imagine if Charlie was a fucking psychopath, and he gets the factory and like fuck you, Charlie. You don't get shit.
Okay, you're painting.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't work in Charlie in the Chocolate Factory because no one gives a shit about Charlie.
Okay,
so
okay.
You know,
Here's an example of so you've seen that famous photo of the African child who's emaciated, like an infant who's emaciated, crawling, and there's a vulture walking behind it, right? You seen that photo? Won every award that there is considered one of the most important photos of all time.
so it's clout. They want clout.
The guy killed
That
himself.
doesn't make me
He
like
shot
them
himself.
all.
The
Yeah.
guy killed himself later. That's the point. It's like it is an inherently like psychopathic, dehumanizing profession. What people, what they do, and that's exactly every crazy photo you've ever seen has come from a photojournalist doing
I
that.
understand that, but I didn't get that from Kirsten Dunst's character. I never got that she was
She deleted the picture of.
recklessly putting people's lives in danger. I never got that ever from her character. It's very different, I think. I think in terms of saying, oh, look, our medium is so pure that we will risk everything and anyone for the perfect shot because that is, we live for a higher reason than ourselves. I think that's a cop-out and is pretty bullshit. And I'd honestly say if like war photographers, they would say, yeah, not quite.
Well, it's not like
really?
she was doing something. Like she was just trying to get a photo. She was running around trying to get a photo. She was
With
putting
no
herself-
regard for anyone else, like what she was
It's
doing.
not like she pushed Kirsten Dunst in front of a bullet. Kirsten Dunst chose to sacrifice herself. She didn't have to. She could have taken a photo of Kaylee Spaney. The point is that Kirsten Dunst's character had moved past taking the photo of Kaylee Spaney dying and had decided to sacrifice herself to save Kaylee Spaney because she's graduated out of that psychopathic photojournalist world to being a real human being. That's her character arc.
Yeah, no, I think you're giving way too much. Okay, look, I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying, but I just think if your message is that this, war photography is for psychopaths, no, like you know what I mean. Like I just think
That's part of it. That's the story of
but
the
it's
characters.
part of all of it now, isn't it? Because that's basically the crescendo of the movie.
It's the characters crescendo, but there is the story of the Civil War going along at the same time.
Yeah. Look, but that's comfortably in the background. It's not something. It's very forefront of the background, but it's not the story. The story is, I think, the story is more. That all these great men are really quite pathetic when it comes down to it. In terms of when he got the final quote from the president,
Tell
just
him to kill me.
And he said before, Mussolini.
Yeah, they're lesser
they're actually lesser men than you think. I think that's what.
Sorry, and that's the thing. The film is about a lot of things.
A lot of things. Yeah,
I think it's a layered film, and I think, I mean, your commentary is legitimate. And the thing is, I think part of what the movie is talking about is that I think the character is a bit psychopathic, but I think she also realizes in that moment her psychopathy as well. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, how she takes the picture and says, "Yeah, I guess that's me." That's me. You might be wondering. No, yeah. So obviously,
what else didn't we like?
What else didn't
like? I mean, let's talk about the acting.
I thought the acting was quite good. I didn't have any problems with anyone.
Oh yeah, everybody was great. That's the thing. Everybody was great, and I'm not sure who the actual journalist guy was. I don't know his name, but he was very good as
Wagner Moura, I think. He was Pablo in Narcos, if you ever seen that.
Didn't see Narcos, but he was very good to the point where he needs a shout out.
Yeah,
he was good too, yeah.
And because I haven't seen him before.
Yeah, I've got no criticism of any actor really. I think.
So did you thought Kaylee Spaney was good though, even though not a fan of the character?
Yeah, it's more of a character problem, not her acting. I think she did well.
She's great. Yeah. You guys seen Priscilla?
No. I didn't. Took me a second to realize that was her as well, but she's also she's going to be in the new Aliens as well.
New Ripley.
So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's so hot right now. She's up and coming.
Love it.
Very nice.
I've
got no problem with her. The actor, Kaylee Penny. No, I think she was pretty effective. She does look. It's kind of weird because she played her age, which was 23. Whereas they could have easily written her as a 16-year-old. So I mean, I just
that would justify it a bit more.
Yeah.
And Kirsten Dunst having more good roles for women.
You're all about that, aren't you?
I am, but like legitimately, it is like I think 15, 20 years ago it would have been a dude, and like having
100%, yeah,
having a decent role like this for like 40-year-old women, that's good. I think that's a positive.
You don't see it often. Like
it's a point of difference. I like difference.
Alex Garland, I think his main's been a woman.
He's a big fan of women.
Big fan of women. Big fan of women. Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Annihilation.
I mean, what do we think about his other films? So we've seen Annihilation, Man.
I was not an Annihilation fan.
You weren't. See, I really liked it.
No, I was. Yeah, like it's very well received. It's just one that I weirdly didn't connect to, and I think also that might time. I don't love the look. I mean, Ex Machina, I remember looking good. I haven't seen it in ages.
Yeah.
But Annihilation and this, I didn't love the look of it, like cinematographically.
Okay.
It was CGI heavy, wasn't it? From memory, I can't.
Annihilation was for sure. Yeah, Annihilation was just. It was CGI, and also I didn't like the marbled kind of the light that's coming from the haze, whatever. I thought the
CGI was used effectively in this film in that it was not as noticeable.
Certainly as little as possible.
Yeah. Leading up, really little to no. I think the worst one was when they had the CGI helicopter and the Hummer getting carried, which was like a bit of a throwback to those 90s Arnold Schwarzenegger films where it's just a model. I mean, it's just like that was a bit lazy, but that's just one.
He had a couple.
That's just an A24 budget, though, isn't it?
Like, yeah. That's another thing that's great about this film is like the mid-budget sort of cinema spectacular. We've had
doesn't have to be a $200 million movie.
No.
Yeah.
To still have that, and also, I mean, a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked the creator, Gareth Edwards. 80 million looks like 200 million. Because
Gareth Edwards, so he was the sort of script writer, was he?
No, sorry, the director.
The creator was the movie.
You can add
the creator. Yeah, that's
the script. Whatever.
No,
there's a couple of slow-mo scenes, with a needle drop attached to it. There was just enough of them and I didn't like the look of it. Kind of. I liked when it was more grounded and just the reality of like urban warfare in America in the modern age, rather than kind of these more ethereal scenes like when they're driving through the bushfire at night. in slow motion, and there's all the sparks of orange embers falling all over that look like shooting stars in the night sky. I didn't love that
You
compared
weren't
to
vibing with that.
is
it fair to say you were thinking that was a bit too Zack Schneidery?
You're right on the money. It was a bit Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I suppose, yeah, like we always say, Rhino, I think for me, it's not like if I hated the film, I'd certainly be like, yeah, fucking, that was so unnecessary. but because I was like, yeah, you know what? It wasn't something I was just like, that was really needed.
Yeah.
I can totally see where you come from.
Yeah. It's just slight moments that took me out of the movie. Couple issues with the script. Like, there was one line from Kaylee Spaney where she said, these last couple of days, I've never been more scared and I've never felt more alive.
But that's the exact moment I got so worried about a character, and that's where I think they butchered it. That's what I'm saying. I just think that was the turning point for me. I was just like, I hate that line. What do you mean by that? Like, I hate that line. What are you, Toll? You sort of got anything that stood out as not really?
Look, for me, at points, and probably to the last, the hallway scene in the White House, I'm thinking this is like a 9.5. This is a 10. I'm loving this. I was enthralled by it, but the endings of it felt flat with me. It just didn't. It just didn't nail it for me, at least. I felt, like I said earlier, it took the cliche, took the easy option out. So otherwise, I honestly, I don't really have too much criticism. I've been since watching it when we watched it Saturday. I've been doing a bit of research on Alex Garland, and I've seen Ex Machina, I've seen Annihilation, but I didn't realize his background as well. All the writing he wrote 28 Days Later, Sunshine, a few other ones like
he wrote the Beach book.
Yeah, he did a Halo as well. He almost read the Halo, like back when they're going to make a movie.
Oh yeah, the Neil Blomkamp one.
Yeah,
Ryan Curran's going. Oh my god.
No, literally, I was thinking that it's like the career. It's like you just write a book. Fucking anybody can write a book. You don't need a budget. You write a book, and then you fucking eventually end up directing fucking
pen, need pages.
That's all. That's all you need.
Need a brain.
No, but moving up in my work, like up in the books, because if those who have been listening to the pod, I'm a big Thriller fan, and he's right up my alley, and I'm excited. I think he's got something else coming out soon. Warfare.
Well, he said he's supposedly finished with directing for a while. Might just go back to writing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said there's an interview. It caused discourse because he was like, "I've fallen out of love with filmmaking," and everybody's like talking about these directors that direct until they die, and that he's a pussy, he's a hobbyist. But he was like, "No, it's not." He's just like, maybe I won't direct a movie immediately. Maybe I'll write a couple of things first and do some other stuff. I mean, he's gone boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I see. I think like an Aaron Sorkin. He's got the ideas and the script in his head. Not to say that his directing is bad, but I'd say it's probably the weakest of his traits, if it makes sense.
He's not the best director, and that's kind of what I mean with the look of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
so whereabouts are we on this one? So I'm an 8 out of 10 or a 4.
Yeah, I think 8.5 for me.
Yeah, I think like 8. I mean, it stuck with me for like.
We got triple 8s here. I was talking about how varied our reviews are going to be, and we just got 3 8s.
Well, it's a good movie. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's one I rang Ed, who was on next week's show, or maybe whatever he's going to be on. I said, you got to go watch this, and it's got to be. I think the biggest recommendation is that this is watched at the cinema. I think this is one because I think it's good to reward great middle cinema too. So like the big movies like Dune, people are just going to go see that. Barbie, everyone's going to see that. But these ones, this is kind of live or die for them. Like I think if they get a really good showing at cinemas, then more people will make films like this. And also it's great. Two-pronged.
Agreed. Well, I mean, that's perfect timing. Let's wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Civil War, Alex Garland. I think, we all agree, great movie.
Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., real great cast. Thanks, Sean, for being on the pod.
That's all right. That's all right.
Hope to see more of it. Now you got your microphone, you can be the official third. Since the ace has fallen out of
We've
favor.
been looking for a third.
Doesn't
We still
an answer
fine.
phone.
All right, cool.
Shout out Danny Do.
Shout
Shout out Donny Do.
No downloads from Donny Do, by the way. Not
yet.
making Donny Do. All right.
No internet there. All right.
All right. Thanks for joining
Cheers,
us,
all.
everybody. Bye.
See ya.